bravefathers.com.
Yes, here we are. Here we are. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is John Paul from bravefathers.com, and I'm a family court strategist. Whoa, man. Today, I'm gonna give you a very uncensored show. I'm going to share things that I don't normally share. I'm going to say things that I don't usually say. Because as I'm growing this platform, growing this system, and sharing with you how to win in family courts, I want to give you a message that is actually based on the truth, based on reality. Because if you follow me on X, you may have realized or noticed that I've been getting quite a lot of attacks from various people. And the main issue they seem to have is with who I am and the fact that this organization, this movement is called Brave Fathers. So let me start by saying every trigger that exists on this planet, in this reality, you will have it this episode, okay? So if you are triggered in any way, shape, or form, please stop watching right now, because all triggers could happen. There isn't a trigger. Let me set my timer. There is no trigger today that you are safe from. This show is not safe for you. So stop watching right now. This is not a safe space. Because I'm fucking pissed off. I'm pissed off and I'm tired. And I want to speak my mind because most of my life I've suppressed a lot of things. And even though people think I speak my mind, which I do, there are still many things that I've not said that need to be said. So I'm going to say them. And the main topic is about dating single mothers, but truly, it's about just dating in general for fathers, for men in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and above. Because we live in a society that already sees sexual desire from the males as a threat, right? So that's where it starts, because I love to fuck, right? It's just what I do. I like women. I am not interested in marriage for at least a decade. When I do get married, most likely it will be primarily for business reasons. It will not be for love. Although I will most likely love the woman I will choose to marry. Even though I've been through a horrible experience going through the UK family courts, I have no grudge against females. I have no grudge against women. And whichever woman I was involved with before, as horrible or abusive as she may have been, that is not a priority for me because that's the past. Where I do bring that up is to be instructive, to help you understand where I'm coming from and to help you in your situation. I'm so angry today. And to help you with your situation. But it's done. I don't have a grudge against the family courts either. And people don't understand it. They don't understand why I'm not angry with the system. Yes, things in the system do make me angry. It is an unfair system. It is a biased system. But you will see my point of view today. And I think the bias is really our fault, all of us. And I want to dig deeper into that. So let me tell you first what I do, right? So what I do is I figure out the best way you can win your case from whichever point you're starting from. The sooner you start working on your case, the better, right? If your child isn't born yet and you are concerned that you might go into court, it means you are most likely going to go into court. So you need to start preparing. Obviously, you can make an application, but you know the truth about what's going on in your relationship. You know the things that are likely to come up. So you must start working on it now. If you think your ex is going to compromise with you, she's not. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching me right now. It's not going to happen. You have no idea if you've not gone through the process yet, or you've not started yet, or you've not gone deep into the process how vindictive she's going to get. Because that is what females are taught to do in the family courts. And this is the same anywhere you are in the world. That is the system. That's how it works. So you don't have a choice. If you want to be involved in your kids' lives, you will have to go to court and you will have to win. And the only way you're going to win is if you prepare. Okay? So I say this because if you have the wrong mindset, you will fail. And one thing that you need to do is to live your full life. You really need to have a good life, as bad as it is. You need to find your happiness as much as you can, even when you miss your kids, even when you want to see them and you can't see them, when you want to hold them, play with them and you can't, you still have to find a way to live a good life. And to have a good life as a man, you will need some woman in your life. And if you have children, or if you're of a certain age, most of the females you come across or that you'll be interested in will have children, because it's just the age, right? And if you're a father, obviously you have kids. And for some women, that will be a disqualifier, right? Or a deal breaker, if you will. So the question becomes, should you be dating this woman? Because when I watch online what's going on, a lot of people talk badly about single mothers. And obviously your ex is now a single mother. She might have been a single mother when you met her. And a lot of resentment seems to come from guys who have no experience with females or very little experience with women. And then the guys who have had experience, they've had bad experiences. So they think that the fact that the woman is a single mother is on its own a bad thing. But I want to say that that's not true, and I'll explain deeper why. And the second issue that I think men need to be aware of, fathers need to be aware of when dating, is that a woman's body count does not matter. And I'll explain why. And these are important. You may think to yourself, I'm trying to win my court case. How is this important? The reason why it's important is whatever feelings you have in your life, whatever pressures you have in your life, they will be magnified in court, because your emotional state will be magnified under the pressure of the UK family courts. You cannot be a hermit in regular life. You cannot be unhappy and disappointed and then go into the court and think that you are going to have a presence that will convince anybody. If they find you miserable, they will see you as prey. And it may sound strange, but it is true. I've noticed a pattern. The fathers who do well in court tend to also put their lives together. They tend to build a better life than what they had before they even met the mother of their children, because that gives them fuel to fight through. And that is just the truth. The reason why you are in court, the reason why I was in court, is because we made some mistakes that we have to take responsibility for. And I've spoken about this in previous episodes, that we chose to ignore red flags. We chose to rush into a relationship we had trouble, right? We thought it's normal to argue, that all these fights and all these things are normal. And then we got the woman pregnant. And some of us did it more than once. And then here we are. So the man you were when you made her pregnant, you can't be that man to win. That is not going to happen. Like Einstein said, you can't solve a problem at the same level of thinking at which the problem was created. You cannot solve a problem at the same level of thinking at which it was created. So if you were a man who allowed disrespect in his life, like I was, that you would stay in a situation where you are being berated, for example, you would sit there, or you would argue back rather than realize you need to leave because you are not there now. So no matter what excuse guys give, oh, I don't want to lose half my property, I don't want to lose a house. Well, how has it worked out for you? If you allowed yourself to stay in a sexless marriage, how has it worked out for you in reality? Not what you wish it was, not what you wish it was, not what it should have been, but what it actually was. What happened when you maybe begged for sex, maybe tried to convince her, maybe you tried to be more macho, maybe you went to the gym or some other stuff trying to impress her, maybe you fucked her once or twice and then it went back to normal, right? Maybe you found out she cheated and then maybe you thought you were forgiving her because that's a good thing to do, whatever you did. I don't know what you did. But you can't be that man to win. Because there is a better life out there. There's a good life. And I wouldn't have known about that life in experience, by experiencing it, if I hadn't gone through this experience. Whatever happened to me and whatever happened to you actually works like a furnace. And it shapes you, it makes you into a different person if you use it wisely, if you use it the right way. If you allow it to pull you down, or you allow all this thing to depress you and take away your confidence and sense of self-worth, then that's what it will be. Or you can realize you're a warrior, you're a man, therefore you keep going and you get stronger. So when you do that, you will inevitably become more attractive to women, more than you were before you met your kid's mother. Of course, this does not mean you should give her another chance because she must be done. Because if you accept her, you will accept more bullshit in your life, right? But you will become more attractive just by pulling yourself up because you start realizing what you are worth. When you realize what you are worth, then the right woman will start recognizing what you are worth. A lot of guys get it very wrong. They think you can just make money. Excuse me. Or you can just go to the gym. Or become popular. Or do whatever. And then that's what's going to make you more attractive to women. But that's not true. It's your own recognition of your self-worth, your own focus on who you are. That's what makes you more attractive. And you can argue against it, but if you've not done it, then you don't know it. And most guys have not done it. How do I know? Because most guys have never walked up to a woman and said to her, I like the way you look in that dress. I want to take you home tonight. It's unfathomable to them because they don't have the level of confidence that will allow them to look a woman straight in the eye, and she doesn't have to say yes, but she will appreciate it. She will understand that it's a man talking to her. So when she says no, it will be with respect. If she says yes, it will be with respect. because she knows men like to fuck, like how she likes to fuck. And that brings us to one of other important points, which is I've noticed guys bitching and moaning about what women do. You're not going to coerce the society or women into being what you want them to be. You have to be the man you are, your true self, and then attract the women who are for you and forget about the rest. This movement is really not about helping all men. It's not. I would be disingenuous to pretend I'm trying to help all men, because I am not. I'm trying to help you, and that's it. Because you are here, you are listening, you are putting in the work, you are putting in the effort. Anybody else does not matter to me. I don't feel sorry for those guys who choose to give up on themselves. I don't give a fuck what took out the fight of them, because I know, look, as time goes on and you get to know me, if I choose to reveal some of the things that happened to me, you'll be like, fuck. And I've been down there. Look, I've been down and, hit what you might call rock bottom. And it's scary to think how bad things can go. But that's what makes you a man, the fact that you're able to overcome those things. That's what makes you a man. There's no platitude, no consolation, nobody giving you a pat on the back and then you fail yourself and then you get a reward. It's not going to happen. People can feel sorry for you, they can commiserate with you, but they're not going to make your life better. So I'm not trying to help everybody. I'm not saying the society is right as it is, but it can't get better until we have more men who value themselves. We cannot have a better society. And you cannot value yourself based on how many men a female has fucked. What she does with her vagina has nothing to do with you. Because your focus must be on you and what you want in your life. And then she comes into your life when you allow her, you give her the opportunity. If she earns a spot, you keep her. As long as she maintains what she needs to do, you allow her to stay around. And then you let go. Everything else is none of your business. It's not your problem because you have bigger things to do. I wish I understood this concept, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, maybe when I was a teenager. I wish this was the lesson I understood, that it does not matter what a female does. Don't concentrate on her. Don't put your hope of happiness in her. There's men saying, oh, I want her to nourish me. I want her to nurture me. Like, what the fuck? She can't nurture you. You have to nurture yourself. She has herself as well. Who is supposed to take up her emotions? You? No. That's not what being an adult is. People talk about compromise and bullshit. Compromise on what? If you don't have a solid foundation, no advice will work for you. And the way you build a solid foundation is by building yourself up. You can't go online and complain about single mothers, not because a lot of single mothers are horrible people, because many are. Not because they're single mothers, because they are people, and people are horrible. Human beings are horrible creatures. We all can be horrible. We have all done horrible things. You can't worry about how many men she slept with, because you can never know. A lot of people are familiar with Akash Singh. If you're not, Akash is an Indian American comedian whose wife keeps berating him online, right? And I watched today, they had a discussion on their podcast, and she continued, really. And what was funny was, she said, I wish I should have saved the clip. She said it was a connection and love at first sight. And he's like, oh, this bitch is gonna make me cry. Nigga. Like, if you believe in that fairy tale, you deserve what comes to you. It's not that love doesn't exist. Love does exist. Love exists. But love is something you arrive at. It's something that emerges when you put in the work. Apart from your mother's or father's love for you, if you had that, and maybe your siblings, your family, perhaps your friends, and you cannot count on any of those. All other love will only come out as a result of you working hard to love yourself. And then you can attract people and things that love you. There's no love at first sight. There's no free love. When I say no free love, what I mean is there's no love without work. Not working for other people to love you, no. Working with yourself, for yourself, on loving yourself. That's how love happens. So anything else is a lie. Right? So, for example, let's say I want to get fitter, right? Because I've really let go and I'm trying to figure out how to deal with it because I like sugar a lot. I consume too much sugar, right? Me loving myself means I work on that. I figure that out. That's what it means, that I have to figure out how I'm going to love myself, right? I want to help fathers see their kids. It's something I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about creating media. I'm doing this for myself as much as I'm doing it for you because I love it. That's how I love myself. I refuse to do things that don't serve me. God willing, I can do, do away with most of the things I don't want in my life. I've been lucky, but it took a lot of work to get here. And I'm still working and I still have to put in effort, to get to the next level and to maintain things. But that's me loving myself. How will you love yourself? What will you do for yourself? And then when you do that, when you take action to take care of yourself, then other things can come to you. But fundamentally, you cannot expect to acquire outside things in order to give yourself worth. You are worth everything just by your existence. When people take a female out, right, whether a single mother or she doesn't have kids, whatever, and they take her out, they never for a moment ask themselves if she's worth that. What they do is they think if she's going to have sex with them, then that makes it worth it. It's the sex. And they automatically think she's worthy of the sex. Right? Like a man thinks fucking the woman is to his advantage and to her disadvantage. That's how society has programmed us to think. And yet, the opposite is true. You are the one inviting her. You are making all the effort. So she's gaining from it. If she's there and she's attracted to you, she wants you as much, if not more, than you want her. When she lays on her back, you are going to put in the effort to fuck her and give her an orgasm. Right? You are, as a man, are the one who are providing with your masculinity, with yourself, an experience for her. So she has to earn that, not because you have to be sure she deserves it. The reason why a lot of guys are bitter is because they don't vet these females. They just give them everything she wants, right? They give the woman everything she wants without expecting anything in return. And when I say expecting something in return, I don't mean sex, I mean reciprocation. So if she doesn't like you, like my mentor used to say, and listen to my interview with David X, he really changed my life. One of the people who changed my life. And he said to me, if she doesn't like you as much as you like her, and or she does not respect you as much as you respect her, and you respect yourself, walk away. But most guys don't want to walk away. The very first woman that gives them any sort of attention, they cling on to her. And we've done it. I've done it in the past, right? And it's childish behavior. And that's not how a man behaves. And the reason why men worry about women's body counts, they give all sorts of bullshit excuses, like she may have an illness or whatever, but an STD. It's not the body count that determines that. It's how you protect yourself. And of course, if you are not promiscuous, that's fine. I'm not saying you should be, but you need to have experiences with women. You need to meet a lot of women before you find the right one. You can't just say, oh, I met someone, and that's it. And then it's lovey-dovey from day one, right? You can't do that because you don't know her. But again, we are taught to assume she's already got her worth, but she hasn't. She's worthy as a human being, but she's not worthy as the woman who's gonna be in your life. And one way you found that out is because you are here. Because you've done it before. You allowed somebody in and you gave her your seed when you shouldn't have. Now, of course, all of us have our children, so we must be grateful for that. We still must respect our children's mothers for being our children's mothers. Regardless of how horrible they are, those are the mothers of our children. We chose those mothers, right? So we have to acknowledge that. I'm not saying we should become all friendly with them or whatever, but we have to respect the fact that those are the women we chose to bear our seed. So, when you get out there and you meet this woman, right? I'm gonna give you some tips that I found that work. So the most important thing is what you do before you even leave your house. And like I said, that is the attitude you have towards yourself. And you must have a plan of how you are going to go about dealing with this woman. So again, it doesn't matter if she's a single mother or she's never had kids or whatever. The plan is the same. You have to know what you want to do with her. So, for example, let's say if your policy is that you want to have sex on the first day or second date or whatever, you have to be ready to walk away from a female who's not interested in that. Not in anger or, resentment or whatever. You are not compatible if you don't want the same things. Now, a lot of women will not want to sleep with you on the first night, so maybe second night or third night. That's up to you, what you want to do. But you have to be clear on that. You have to be, before you go, you have to decide that, look, I'm not going to spend more than an hour or maybe an hour and a half maximum if she's actually really interested in you and, she's planning to come home with you that night. But if you can tell that it's going to, just be a date like that, don't spend more than an hour. People complain about, oh, it takes so much time to date these females. But they are the ones who are spending the time. They are the ones spending the time. If you spend the time, you chose to spend that time on her. Nobody else did. And if she's not fucking you that night, what the fuck are you doing talking to her for 3-4 hours? Going from the restaurant, going to a fucking cinema, going, for a walk, and then, you spend 4 or 5 hours with somebody that you think you're getting to know her. No. You need to realize how much your time is worth. And before you leave your home, you have to make up your mind. I remember recently I met this beautiful woman, and I actually thought we were going to go home that night, and she didn't want to go. And an hour in, I was like, oh, and I told her like, it was a pleasure how she getting home and so forth. And she's like, oh, are you cutting it short? And in my mind, I'm like, short? An hour? I should have ended this like 15, 30 minutes ago. I didn't say that to her. There was no need to be hurting her feelings, but that's what I thought. I was like, I'm wasting my time. because I could tell we were not compatible. And she was attractive, very attractive. And well, you know, we walked out of the bar, and you know, she was like, "Are you gonna call me?" I said, "No." I said, "No." That's it. Because, you know, there's nothing gonna happen from that. And there was another example where I said to her, "Look, a line, it's not a line, I literally thought that. I was like, wow, I really love how you look in this dress, and I would like to take you home tonight." And she said she couldn't come home with me that night because she had to go home to her kid, right? So I said, "Look, take my number." No, I asked her to go write the number down, to get a number from the paper from the bar, write her number down. I would call her the next day and we arranged something, and we did. And she came over a couple of days after. We did what we did, right? And that was it. So it's not every woman that is going to be interested in doing what you want, but you keep the ones who are interested and you let go of the ones who are not interested. It's that simple. But you see, guys just don't get it. And then when we end up in court, we don't want to accept that we were forcing a relationship. Most guys can't accept that they forced the relationship. She was probably standoffish. She was probably not having sex with you, right, for a while. And guys still stay in those relationships. And people argue with me on X that, oh, you can salvage. Why would you have something as precious as your dick and fucking beg this female to take it? Why can't you value what you do enough, you know, to restrict it to someone who doesn't appreciate it? Let's say you have a suitcase full of $1 million, and then you give it to someone, they're like, nah. They're like, fuck off. Are you gonna be like, oh, but please take? No. You have to start looking at yourself as important. You have to start looking at yourself as precious. You have to start looking at yourself as valuable. And then only allow females who are compatible with that, who are also interested in you in the same way, which could mean you may meet 20 women, you might meet 30, you might even meet 100 before you find that one. But it's your life. I don't understand why people think that love and a good relationship is something that should come easy to you. You see, when I speak, when I make my statements, when I write, when people come, to see me, hear me speak and see me speak, a lot of people think I'm just saying things, to upset the status quo. When I don't really give a fuck that much about the status quo. I don't care. Everything I'm saying has levels to it. So when I say when I say, oh, love at first sight doesn't exist, people think, oh, who hurt you? You hate women because of what happened to you. No. I'll always love women. I'm grateful to be strong. I want to be strong. I want to be healthier because I really like to fuck. I really like women. So that's not what it is. Oh, you don't believe in love. I do believe in love. But again, love, just like health, just like money, everything has to be worked for. Right? Even if you were born into a rich family, you still have to maintain that wealth. Right? Somebody has to put in the work. You can't take anything for granted. So love and a good relationship is something you put an effort into. So when you meet a woman, and again, if you're a father, most likely she will have kids as well, right? Not always, but chances are she has kids, again, if you're of a certain age. When you meet her, don't go out expecting her to be your next wife, the mother of your next kids. And I think that's where guys fail. Because when a woman goes on a date, right? She's thinking, and it doesn't matter what she's thinking, but I'm really giving you an example to understand, the difference between how men think and women think. So she's thinking, oh, I like this guy. Let's say she likes you. Yeah, I might go home with him tonight. Let me look good. Let me smell good. Put on nice panties, whatever. Oh, I hope, it really works out between us because I really like him. She may go and tell her friends or whatever. But guys are like, oh, damn, she's so hot. I hope she likes me. I hope, I can impress her. Let me take her to this fancy restaurant. Let me wear this expensive shirt. Let me buy her this meal. Try to figure out what she wants, what she likes, so you please her. And then you start thinking all the way through marriage before you fucking even fuck this bitch. You don't even know her, and you've put in so much emotion, so much emotional investment. That's what guys do. Like people say, oh no, that's not true. But look, every fucking post where a man is complaining about a woman, including the mother of his kids, oh, I did this for her, I did that for her. Why did you do it? And again, I'm not saying women don't deserve good things from you, but they need to earn those things just like anybody else. You are putting women on a pedestal by just giving them things. And you have to take responsibility for that. And if you think no woman will want you unless you spend a lot of money on her, or unless you spend time calling her on the phone every day or texting her, then that means you don't value yourself as a man. You don't understand your worth as a man. You don't understand it. Because at the same time you hear about some asshole, right? That after you took her on the expensive date and you dropped her off, she went over to his place and he didn't buy her anything. And if you bought her a takeaway, he ate it and asked me how I know. I'll tell you how I know, because I used to like doing that. I used to enjoy it. When a woman would go on a date, I would tell her, look, go on your date and then come see me. Make sure you get a takeaway for me. And they would. And my favorite is always, if they have golden fried shrimp, get me some golden fried shrimp. Because I like it a lot. And then I eat it and I fuck her. Whilst the guy goes home to tell his friends, oh, we had a really good conversation. It's so difficult, like helping. The reason why this is difficult, because the whole system, the whole court system is just part of the larger society where males are just so oblivious to reality. So it's difficult because sometimes people don't see the relevance of how they deal with women with what happens in court. Because when they go to court, they don't realize that they were played from before, way before. They don't understand why they got hit so hard. And the court system knows that the male is unprepared, that he's naive, that he doesn't understand subtext, that he hasn't prepared to understand the narrative. He's trying to focus on logic when it's the narrative that wins. And so it's so hard for guys to understand, because I have fathers that I'm helping and then they start going back to their exes, right? Not necessarily the one they're in court with, but a different one who doesn't respect them. And then they get stressed, and then when they get to court and they have a fact finding, then they are stressed already. And sometimes you have these organizations contact ex-girlfriends. If you have to do a domestic abuse perpetrator program or any nonsense program that they put you on, they often contact the exes, and some are vindictive. And it frustrates me, because the energy that you need to win your case, you give it to some woman who does not deserve it. So that's why, again, when you're dating, it doesn't matter if she's a single mother, because what matters is what you do. Now, there's another thing I want to mention before I forget about these mothers. Don't meet their kids, and don't let them meet your kids either. Because until you are sure this woman is going to be, either if you plan to get married, your wife, or She's gonna be, a girlfriend for the next 10 years. That's where the relationship is going. She shouldn't know your kids. And you cannot know that until you've known her for at least 2 or 3 years. I don't believe a female should meet your kids until you've known her for 2 years. And vice versa. You shouldn't meet her kids until older. That's one of the mistakes, one of the fuck-ups that guys do. And it frustrates me because you are trying to help someone, and then this person has gone to start a relationship with a female he's only known for a month. And they're going on a trip together with the kids. And then 3 months later, they're broken up. And then he's frustrated, he can't concentrate because now he's got 2 women he's worried about. His kid's mother and then the new one. So the reality is you have to take responsibility for what you do. You have to be willing to meet a lot of women before you meet the right one. Therefore, don't commit more time to any woman at any point beyond what she has earned at that time. Don't follow the tradition that got you into this position in the first place. Don't get yourself in the same situation. Every guy talks about how we hit it off. It was so great. Forgetting there are women with personality disorders who manipulate you, who love bomb you, who present themselves as the perfect woman you've always wanted. Again, looking at the Akash Singh example, she said that she was a virgin. I don't even know, I'm not sure she can spell virgin. Like how? And it's interesting though, because she said she was a virgin until she met him. And she was talking on the podcast about how she is allowing him to get hand jobs from massage parlors. And she says it's less work for her. So that implies that she gives him hand jobs rather than fucking him or sucking his dick. And that she doesn't like doing it. It's work for her. It's not pleasure. She doesn't want it. And you see, that's how people laugh at that. But the ones laughing and the ones mocking him, they are in the same position. They are all in the same position. They do the same thing. So how are you expecting to have a better life? How are you expecting to win? My whole point, my whole strategy is change everything as a man like that you've been doing till now. Change everything. Raise your standard. And a woman's body count is not your standard because that is not your body, it's her body. Like transcend all that. Instead, ask yourself, let's say you've been dating her for 6-7 months, right? And at that point, you shouldn't yet give her a title of girlfriend. But you can give her little things to start testing her out, right? And if you say, oh, you know what, could you just pick this on the way? Can you pick up the Wall Street Journal for me from the supermarket? Or from the shop or a store, wherever. Does she do it? Does she listen to your instruction based on the plan that she's following you to be? Because that's you must have a plan for yourself, right? And she comes into your life to help you. If you have a court case and you need some kind of help, let's say, and again, you should have known her for a while, let's say 8-9 months before you give her that level of responsibility. But you say, listen, I'll have to have a consultation with John Paul. So can you pick up some food for me? Does she do that? That should be your criteria. What she does for you, what she brings into your life. Does she like to have sex the way you do? Are you compatible? should be your criteria. When she says she's going to be there at 5, is she going to be there at 5? Or does she show up at 7? Or does she text you at 6 o'clock? Oh, sorry, I forgot. You can't be tolerating those things. And it pisses me off when people on X try to make me look like I'm some kind of sociopath. Maybe I am. But that doesn't mean I should accept disrespect. And again, you hold yourself to that high standard too, right? It's not just for the woman, it's for yourself. It's for yourself anyway. But that should be your criteria. Is she contributing to your life? Not by force, but willingly, because she respects you and she wants to go where you want to go. Not how many men she fucked before she met you. That's irrelevant. Most of the women you meet are not gonna be your long-term girlfriends if you listen to what I'm saying. You will pick and choose. And it may seem far off because maybe right now you don't have anybody and you've not dated in a while. But once you start changing your behaviors, women will notice. Women will notice because you'll be different from other guys. Because every other guy tries to talk to her for an hour on the phone. And all you do is spend 2-3 minutes max, maybe 5 minutes, setting up a date. And you say, listen, I've got to go. Not because you're trying to pretend to be busy or to be mysterious, because you value your time. You don't give out your time. Your time is the most important thing you can give to a woman. If she doesn't think that, she's not right for you. And you know, before I experienced this, I thought it was crazy. I would be like, oh, women would not go for that. Because I was so used to disrespectful women. I was so used to women who would deny me sex, you know, in some of my past long-term relationships. Because I've lived that life, you know, I didn't know this all the time. And then the first time a girl was really open with me, I was like, wow, so this exists. And then it became a pattern, and then now it becomes a baseline. I don't expect any less. It becomes your new normal. And that gives you the ability and the strength to do what you need to do in your life. But you have to transcend things. You know, I'm a Christian, but I don't have this fake fucking moral code where people pretend to be holy. They'll chastise women and they'll go and watch pornography. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know, this hypocrisy. I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it. And if you are doing things right, you will end up with 2 or 3 women or more. But I personally never have time for more than 3 consistently. Or desire, you know, to be consistent with more than 3 at a time. But whatever works for you, you will then be able to choose. And you realize that you wasted a lot of time, a lot of your life, a lot of energy, right? But then you'll never go back to that again. And you can finally be the man you are. So we are about to end in about a few minutes. So my main message for you today is, whatever situation you are in, whatever you're going through, you need to pull through. That's the protocol. It's difficult. And I feel pain too. And it's hard for me too, because all these family calls and all this stuff, it does put pressure on you. So don't think I don't appreciate that part of it. Don't think I don't appreciate the difficulty. I understand the social pressure. I understand how negative males are portrayed in the media, in the movies, in the news, when you go to work. The fucking HR department treats every male like a predator, right? Whilst female walk around half naked, showing their cleavage, and we are supposed to pretend we don't see it. I acknowledge all that. But every time in history, there is something that males have to bear. And in our time, this is what we bear. This is better than being thrown into a lion pit for people's entertainment. This is better than having to plow the earth, as our ancestors have had to do, or die in a war for some fucking lord who doesn't care about you just because he wants to marry, the other lord's daughter or some dispute that they've had. So men have always had to live through bullshit, and in general, the most difficult things are reserved for males in society. Unfortunately or fortunately, it is what it is. If we are lucky enough that we can have this conversation, that means we are comfortable enough as compared to our ancestors. So this is what we have to bear, right? But we cannot allow it to stop us from being men. People have these movements like MGTOW. I don't believe in that. Yes, you should go your own way, but not isolate yourself. Build your society. Build your own circle. Build your movement like I'm doing my movement. This is my movement of brave fathers. Fathers who are brave enough to say, fuck this shit. I'll be who I am. So, like I said, the fact that I'm a father doesn't mean I don't, I've spent years in court. I still like to go out. I still like to fuck. I still like to drink. Every now and then I like to have a smoke. Yeah, I'm not holy. I'm not here to preach a moral code. I'm here to help you win. Yes, I have a code of conduct, but my code of conduct doesn't mean I can't have 2 girlfriends at the same time. And be honest with them and the world that that's what I do. Or if I choose to have 5. Or if next week I choose to have 3 different women in the same day. Whatever. That's my choice. I'm not here to be the holy guy. I don't want you to mistake that. I'm here to help you win. If you are fighting for your kids in the family court, or you have somebody else who is fighting for kids, I'm here for you. That's what I'm here for. I could come online and pretend to be somebody who I'm not, but then that would mean killing my soul. And that would mean being like all the lawyers and the barristers and the other court workers who lie, because I've had them lie to me. I've had them lie to me. And maybe they are lying to you. So you have to figure out who you are. The dark side and the bright side and the light side. You have to know yourself on a very deep level. And you have to be brave to do that. Because now, I've only been online on X and on social media for about 5-6 weeks. Like, I was off social media for years. Once I started my proceedings, and even before, I was already off a little bit here and there. Once I started for years, I've not been on social media at all. Not actively. Maybe I have some accounts and so forth. You get what I mean? But now I'm active. Every day I'm posting, every day I'm replying, and I'm getting all sorts of comments like, the brave father, you're a cowardly father, whatever. Because what? Because I like women. Because I like to have some whiskey once in a while. Because I don't conform to the society's model of being a protector, provider that gets applauded as the fucking divine male or some other bullshit. Or because women don't like the way I speak. I don't give a fuck. I'm a man. I'm a human being. Nobody wakes up in the morning thinking, oh, how should I behave so that John Paul feels good today? None of these people feed me. Or you, for that matter. So you need to be confident and accept that you have your own separate path in life and be brave to follow it. And that's how you end up winning in everything you do. Until the world accepts it, or they don't. But at least you know you have been true to yourself and you have the satisfaction of doing it your way. And it's not easy and there are consequences, whatever. Fuck that whole shit. Do you want to live like a coward or do you want to be brave? Do you want to be who you are? Or do you want to be a caricature? Now, like I know, I hope I don't need to say this, but I am saying it. Doesn't mean go and do something stupid, right? Of course, we all know there's the laws of the land and so forth, and you shouldn't harm other people. So I'm not saying, be a bad person out there. But it doesn't mean also that you have to be the nice guy that the society may be forcing you to be. It doesn't mean that you have to conform. But it does mean that you will be rejected by a lot of people. And it does mean that you will reject a lot of people. You understand what I'm saying? And you need to have criteria, you need to have standards, you need to have a code by which you live. And you only accept people who are willing to be part of it. Of course, it's not going to happen overnight. You're going to have to put in work. And soon enough, you'll get there. But the moment you make that decision, your life changes. So tonight, before you go to sleep, tell yourself, I'm going to be myself. And if you don't know who you are, you tell yourself, I will learn to know who I am. I'll look in the mirror and I'll love myself. I'll respect myself. I'll value myself. The man I was, the way I acted before is done. It's over. Regardless of what the outcome of whatever you're going through is going to be. You are going to be a stronger, more powerful, better man. You're going to be brave, confident, strong, and focused on what you want. That must be your promise to yourself. And that's when you can be a father, the kids can say, it will be like, yes, that's my hero. But you must be a hero to yourself first. And it is difficult. It is difficult, okay? So be ready to put in that work. Put in the work. So, I've said a lot. The main topic was, should you be dating single mothers as a father? And the truth is, it's always on case-by-case basis, right? We discussed about not giving your time away too freely. You have to be selective as to how much time you give to each woman. You have to be clear before you leave your house, if you're going on a date, what you want. Focus on your life. You have too much shit going on in your life to worry about how many men she fucked before you. Most likely the next woman you meet is not going to be your wife anyway. So don't bother about those things. Rather, look at whether or not she's enhancing your life, whether she's contributing. Of course, you do little by little. She shouldn't be all in on month one because she hasn't earned that spot yet, right? You don't become a CEO of a company, from the mailing room within a month. You work your way up. And that's how you have to value yourself so much and believe. Listen, and it's hard, I know. If you don't have anybody, if you are single, I know guys, they've not dated for years. I have a client, he recently told me he hasn't dated in about, I think, a decade almost now. That doesn't mean you cannot turn your life around. This is your one time. And as they say in court, this is the first and last night of the show. It's happening right now. So, thank you so much for watching. My name is John Paul. If you're trying to reach me, you'll find me at bravefathers.com. The site is under construction right now, but you can still send a message. You can reach me on X at Brave Fathers. You will find me on YouTube, the same handle at Brave Fathers. Those are the two main social media platforms I'm on. So if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I'm happy to answer you. Thank you so much. And I'm going to see you again next week. And thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it and it means a lot to me. Thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. All the best.
fathers.com.